Bill Gates surrenders to the Chinese as secret war rages on. The secret battle for planet Earth is raging on with England, Russia, China, and the Pentagon leading the charge against the satanic Khazarian mafia. In the biggest development last week, Microsoft Bill Gates, fearing for his life, have surrendered to the Chinese and is providing them with insider information about the pharmaceutical mafia, Asian secret society, and Pentagon sources say. The official Chinese Xinhua news agency reports Gates have offered $100 billion to fight the new coronavirus. Chinese President Xi Jinping wrote to Gates. I support your cooperation with relevant Chinese institutions and look forward to enhanced coordinated and concert efforts in the international community for the sake of health and well-being of all. The relevant Chinese institution Gates is cooperating with most certainly include the Chinese Secret Services. Asian Secret Society source told the Pentagon last week that they were aware the bioweapon attack on China was carried out by the same people who assassinated President John F. Kennedy and orchestrated the 11th September. The agents and the Pentagon are thus cooperating and sharing pinpoint information to ensure all guilty parties are led to justice. Now we need to look at the role of U.S. President Donald Trump and his regime in this whole business. A key hint is escalation of the panic surrounding the coronavirus, otherwise known as the common cold virus. It spread intensified in earnest after the U.S. corporate government formally defaulted on February 16. This pandemic is being staged to provide cover for the cutoff of credit that the U.S. is experiencing right now. We also note that Trump has lost much of his military support. That is why he was forced to hire the openly gay, flaming Zionist U.S. ambassador to Germany Richard General as acting director for national intelligence. It is why Trump Quirent is punished his flunky Cashier Paddle as a name for a member. CIA and Marine veteran Robert David Steele notes, the secret Mandarins will lie to the acting DNI and his new hires such as Cashier Paddle, all of whom are just as ignorant of the substance of intelligence despite their super smarts on knowing what the president needs, but is not getting apart from subversions and lies. As with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the secret war will seek to charm and subvert, and Gradnell's enchantment with to note cytoxeniumness will be his actual hill. Of course, there is a much bigger game in play here. The gathering of G20 finance ministers last week in Saudi Arabia, minus the UK, Russia, and China, provides hints about what is at stake. It is very important to synchronize Indonesian Finance Ministry Sri Mulyani Indrawati state in a Bloomberg TV interview in Riyadh on the sidelines of G20. Indrawati added, all the economic ministers coming here and the central banks have instruments and policy tools that they can implement and execute, including fiscal expansion if it is necessary. She's basically saying that the central bankers will create unlimited amounts of stimulus of $1 trillion of computer credit money. This time, it would not work as we are in the endgame now. It does look like Indonesia has been chosen by the Zionist cabal to take over from China in the manufacturing sector. There are no coincidences. As the Russia FSB source note, even if the new coronavirus does not exist, it would have had to be invented because something needed to be done to prevent China from taking over the world. In other words, the West needed to draw a line in the sand and make sure we do not end up with a one-China world. Now P3 Freemason sources are saying the plan is to increase panic worldwide over the new virus as an excuse to bring on martial law, which is needed to start a world federation. Asian secret society sources say they understand and support the need for a loose world federation as does the British Commonwealth. This would be a multipolar arrangement limited to dealing with problems faced by planning as a whole. It would be equivalent of neighborhooding garbage collections, where people agrees to put their garbage at the end of the driveway on certain days, but also agrees to let the trash collectors come into their homes. What this group do not support is a Zionist-controlled fascist New World Order run by Satan, worshipping Khazarian gangsters. These people are still stubbornly clinging to a biblical end-time theory that involves killing 90% of the world's population and enslaving the rest. Some of their recent fear-mongering about 10 plagues hitting the planet. It is also worth noting that Rothschild, an Angeles family-owned economist magazine, featured the Four Horsemen of the Acropolis on its three-year 2019 cover. Anyway, let's take a look at the fear punch show the outlets have in store for us over the coming weeks, all thanks to a new type of coronavirus. Remember, this all supposedly started with a crazy fruit bat, and now Chinese officials admit that the animal market was not the cause of the outbreak, but don't want to say what was. What we are seeing is industrial shutdowns, pandemic street performance, and other such acts in the stores of countries. Here, for example, is a quote from Newsweek. It's a little worrying. Until this happened in Purdue, it almost seems like a media stunt, says Macro Bertoni, who lives in the northern city of Fulford. Guess what, Mr. Bertoni? It's a media stunt. In Japan, there is an elaborate corporate media play act about people who were quarantined on a cruise ship and then sent all over the world without being properly tested. Even Iran is participating in the pandemic kabuki theater. However, it looks like South Korea, whose film Parasite recently won an Oscar, is now about to get the Best Pandemic Acting Award. There is so much fear porn spinning around this latest virus that it has now been affected all the patients in an insane asylum in South Korea. Here is what CIA Australian intelligence sources had to say about the act unfolding there. Daegu, South Korea, is the next chosen death center outside of China. There will be lots of deaths there. South Korea was targeted with coronavirus to bring down the economy. It is working as the KOSPI is down 2.3% today. The manufacturing centers for high tech are being targeted. Daegu is a manufacturing industrial city. It's the economic and industrial core of Daegu, Gungbuk region, one of the major industrial areas in Korea. It is just a coincidence that the manufacturing sectors are being hit by this designer coronavirus. This bioengineered pandemic was actually planned to create global pandemonium and is doing just that. Next, it may be a coronavirus-infected werewolf in London running amok. God save the Queen. This is all about collapsing the major economies of the world and the banking system. That is exactly what's now happening. World trade is seizing up and markets are about to deploy. In just the past week alone, $7 trillion was erased from the global market. We are also starting to see empty stores thieves, and we see plenty more of those before this is all over. In Japan, it is now impossible to buy face masks or infected alcohol unless you buy it from profiteers. A cut in medical supplies from China is going to increasingly affect the US too. This is just the crest of the wave. The links below provide multiple examples of the world economy now grinning to the hat. As a Goldman Sachs trader recently told me, I will continue to dance as long as the party goes on, but I will stay close to the door. Just as the Mongols used human thieves to protect the warriors, the oligarchs are now using retail investors to protect their profits. The links below show how retail investors all jump in at the last minute, just in time to take the heat. Remember, folks, at the end of the day, only things that actually exist in the world will matter. That is why gold closed at $1,645 per ounce Friday and appears to be in a strong bull run on the way to $2,000. Also, rhodium, which is kept off the radar, closed Friday at $12,300 per ounce. 6 months ago, it was $3,500 per ounce. 1 year ago, it was $2,500 per ounce. It is used upward in the secret space program. I have direct knowledge of this, explained a CIA source. Mexican politicians, meanwhile, are calling for a ban on silver exports and urging citizens to invest their savings in silver. However, the Chinese appear to be making the wisest investment of all: food. Remember, as the story of King's Midas would clear, you can't eat gold. China has been buying huge stash of nuts, dried fruit, and canned meat and fish, according to Russian FSB sources. These are food that do not require refrigerations or cooking and are used for military campaign as well as emergency relief in the event of a disaster. The Chinese might be on to something. Now might be a time to make sure you have your own personal food supply. Finally this week, here are some recent news items worth mentioning. One is that so-called First Nation activists are now trying to shut down rail traffic in Canada. Canadian government sources say these people are receiving money from the Rockefeller Brother Foundation to stop pipelines meant to export oil to Asia. Another is we are hearing that Turkey's President Recep Erdogan is going to be removed soon because of his neo-Ottoman expansionist plans. Erdogan is temporary. He will be removed very soon as he closed the line that Putin put in place, an FSB source explained. He tried to run to the US for help, but he already burned that bridge. Finally, Russian and Taiwanese sources both tell us Chinese President Xi Jinping has been killed and replaced by a body double. That is why he recently vanished from public view for 12 days during the coronavirus outbreak. However, we have not been able to confirm this with the Chinese government sources.